Welcome to the channel, people. Today I'm bringing you some Dollar Tree DIYs of Pinterest inspired dupes with my friend Favi over at Arrows DIY. And for this first one, it reminded me of something I seen recently in one of my Walmart browse with Brandi trips, and I thought we're just gonna have to wing this and recreate it in my vision. So I cut down these 1x3s, and I did take a second to show you the measurements real quick in case you want to recreate this for yourself. You could use a miter box to do this. No heavy tools are required. You will need 3 pallets as well, and then attach the pallets with wood glue and hot glue to accomplish those bonds for your little piece of wood that you're going to put on the sides here. Now, if you don't want to use this and you just want to hot glue it, more power to you, but I will take no responsibility if it falls apart on you, okay? Because you were warned. See how the bottom of the wood block comes down to the bottom? There's a little bit of space at the top. If you want to cut your block the opposite way, like make it a little bit longer and then just kind of flip it, that would work too. I like the look of the wood this way, so that's why I did it this way. And that tiny little gap at the top there, like, no one's gonna care. This thing is so cute, and you could just really put it anywhere. Just absolutely loved how this turned out. I did make sure to put all the glue on first before attaching the last piece on both sides, and you're going to want to hold it for a second to let that hot glue set in, because once you go to attach this to the bottom piece, which is that palette we have over here, you're going to use mostly wood glue, so that way you know that if you drop this thing or whatever, it's going to hold. So making sure the top piece is well held together before you put this on here, because you're only putting little bits of wood or hot glue in the corners just to, you know, grab it initially. And here's me showing you like how I missed with the wood glue. Wasn't a big deal. I just took a paintbrush and kind of smooshed the wood glue in up against the pallets, and then I let this dry overnight. For this part, you're going to need some joint compound and whatever color paint you want. I'm using black, and we're going to just mix the two together, and that's it. We're just going to create a colored raised stencil on this natural wood. And I wanted to do this because, believe it or not, when I have done raised stencils in the past and then I paint over them, I have people, even my best friend is one of them, who are like, I really like the stencil before you painted over it. So for all of yous who have commented, and Randy, if you're watching, this DIY is for you. And the best part about this is you can create the raised stencil in any color you want. I just used black. I wanted to keep this really neutral. I was going to go gray, but I'm like, nah, let's live a little. And it's so amazing. This might actually be one of my favorite raised stencil looks. Let me know what you think. When I seen this on Pinterest, I thought to myself, I already kind of have one of these windows. I made this already with Dollar Tree items. I can post the video in the description box for if you want to see how I made the window. I know I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but the basket is what we're here for on the window, okay? The basket. So right here I decided to kind of take my little parts off the window and how I had it all set up for staging, and I thought I never did staple this in here, so I'm trying to use this staple gun, and I thought, well, it's weird amount of staples. I could have swore I just put this in. I don't know what's going on here, and I'm just gonna let you guys enjoy this. I gotta show y'all this. So this is new. I've only used this a handful of times, and I don't know why I was using it backwards. Look at where the staples actually went. They went in the table. I had it backwards while I was using it. Oh my God. Complete operator error there. Anybody else stapling their table or just me? Okay, I've composed myself. All right, so I I got my stuff together and fixed the rope on the back and started attaching my tumbling blocks. I've recently had people commenting about how their tumbling blocks fall apart, they have issues, X, Y, and Z. All I can say is I use wood glue and hot glue. I use Shore-Bond hot glue and I use Tite-Bond wood glue, and I have not had a problem. I've dropped many a projects, many a days, and they stay together. To create the base for our little window ledge, I used 11 tumbling tower blocks. You of course use how many ever that you want to use, but if you go back, watch the video where I made the window, and then you want to know, like, this is how I did it. I'm creating like a little fence look here for this. I did not have, full disclosure, enough tumbling blocks to actually go all the way around. After my last tumbling tower and pallet video, I was scraping the bottom of the barrel. So this was my idea for this. I took 3 tumbling blocks to make the bottom of the fence and then 3 to make the top. And I put the side pieces you're seeing me pop out now, they're just basically for good measure to be able to tell exactly where I needed to put the one to attach to the window. And then I just tossed more glue on there and popped it right back on. It worked like a charm. I wanted to keep this very neutral, so I'm just going to use the same technique that I used to stain the window, which is a little bit of water with a little bit of antique Waverly wax. It gives you like a faux light coffee stain or tea bag. It's very dim, very light, but it's very neutral still. I have found soaking my tumbling blocks in anything takes forever for them to dry, and I can't live my life like that. And here's a little comparison without the stain. I want to take a second to thank Favi for joining me today with these dupes. I really appreciated teaming up with her. She loves to do lives. She's such a sweet person. She also likes making decor on a budget. If that sounds like something y'all would enjoy, her channel link is in the description. Stop on over and check her out. For our third dupe, I'm going to combine the two of these ideas, and I'm going to use this Dollar Tree wall shelf. I got several of these recently in one of my Browse with Brandi videos that I do DIY related browsing, in case you didn't know, throughout the week when I'm not doing DIY Fridays. Yes, I'm plugging myself. So I was actually pretty excited to open these on camera with you until this. Like, what is this, Dollar Tree? What is going on? Man, come on. This is a hot mess. Come on. I ain't even about to... We're going to use the one that doesn't have that... I don't know, man. All them crusty bits. Like, crusty bits everywhere. It's unacceptable. I have to clean up first. So here was another thing I'm pondering in the process. I'm, like, going through. I'm like, okay, here's some rope, right? There's 2 ropes in the package. All right, 2 ropes. I guess that makes sense if we're gonna cut the ropes in half, so 1 full rope for each 1 square shelf, and I realized it wasn't enough, so I had this cord, thank goodness. And because I didn't want to use regular beads, I'm like, let's take apart this brain teaser. I have been waiting to get a hold of this, and this is where y'all lost me for a good 10 minutes. I don't know what I ended up doing, but I could not figure out how to get it back into the square that it was. Suddenly, this little teaser thing became the priority and not the video. So I had to knock that off. And then I cut this apart and the beads went flying on the floor, across the desk. You know how that goes. But then I discovered this little morsel. I mean, I'm holding on to this, people. You're gonna see this. How cool is this little square bead on this little bungee cord? I don't know what I'm gonna use it for, but you know, we're just gonna keep it just in case. And this is where I started, you know, my brain really started going here. So I had to share this with you. Let's take a look at this. There's 2 of the little ring things, right? Two. And if you look at this, it shows 4 ropes. It shows 4, but only 2 ropes came in this pack and 2 shelves. And if you're picking up what I'm putting down, I feel like I'm missing a rope, people. Because if I cut the ropes that they gave me in half to give me the 4 strings that I need, I don't think I have enough strength. but you know, let me know in the comments below. How do you feel about that? But on to our project. So I wanted to take a bead and put at the top of our little ring, and this hole was not big enough to fit 4 pieces of string. I also want to point out that some of these square beads curve, the holes are sideways. So I'm taking one of the straight holes, and to make the hole bigger, I'm going to use a drill bit to make the hole bigger inside the bead that has the straight hole. And little did I know, the drill bit was way too big and I almost lost a finger. Viewer beware, do not try this at home. I'm not responsible for your loss of fingers if you decide to do what I'm doing in the video. The proper way to go about this is to take a drill bit exactly the same size of the hole and then work up to the larger drill bit. So that's what I had to do. I did this in stages to get the hole bigger. It was a process. It was a pain in my butt, and I wish I didn't have to do it, but I wanted that little bead at the top where my ring was. And since I didn't want to glue all my little pieces together, which really ended up not mattering at the end of the day because I cut this piece off, I used the tape, and that sucked trying to pull this out of here. But eventually I got the result I wanted, and we had the little bead up at the bottom where our ring is. Now look how cute it is. It was worth the struggle. I loved it. Now for this part, I did use the hot glue to smooth out our rope to be able to put in our little beads. And I did 2 of the dark beads and 1 of the light beads, and I made sure that the holes were crooked so this way the rope was kind of wonky. Now this, ain't nobody getting no rope through this whole Dollar Tree. I don't know who you got cutting your holes, but I had to stretch this hole out, and then I had to sand it down. There were bits hanging all over it. You ain't getting no rope through there without doing all this, people. So prepare yourself. I'm just letting you know. Prepare yourself to be able to clean up them holes, to be able to shove the rope through it. And then on a little side note, make sure that you have your rope all straightened out beforehand, or you're going to have to do what I did and take the rope back out the holes and then organize your rope pieces. So this way they're not all tangled all over each other. And that's a whole nother issue and a headache in itself. When you get your rope on the bottom, you're then going to tie a nice knot. Make sure it's centered so you don't have to go back and fix that. I also had to do that because mine was so crooked. Then just start like pulling your rope pieces apart a little bit. Steal your dog's brush and then just brush it out so it's all nice and straight, and we're going to be done with this one. For our last dupe, I instantly fell in love with these, and I wish I did stain mine the same color. I still think mine turned out nice, but you know. This is a little square piece I purchased from Hobby Lobby. You can also pick them up at Home Depot. They are very inexpensive. I only made this 5 tumbling blocks high because I knew I was limited on tumbling blocks, and at this point I still hadn't made the little window perch thing. Yeah, I know this is the last one, but I actually made it before the other one. Listen, I switched the footage up. Stop judging me, okay? Stop judging me. Okay. This thing was a little bit rough to cut with these miter shears, and of course, when I finally got it down, it went flying across the room, and I had to, you know, go find it. To start off, I was really sketchy about building this piece because I had to keep going in a circle the whole way, and I was nervous that the pieces were going to start popping off, especially because I wasn't waiting for it to dry, but they didn't. This was actually one of the easiest pieces for me to do in the video. It maybe took me 20 minutes to put this together. I do want to reiterate though, as you're putting it together, you want to make sure that you're using hot glue to get that immediate bond in spots. And you could probably use tumbling blocks on the edges. I think that, you know, how Pinterest the dupe was, where it had the little square dowels at the end. I really just like the look of that. And I almost feel like I've seen this before. I am sure another creator has made something similar, which is probably why when I seen this on Pinterest, I was like, oh, that looks nice. It's just something familiar you see, you know? Feel free to write in the comments if you have seen another creator and what the channel is to help other people, you know, that love these crafts be able to find them. But this is relatively how easy it was. I just continued going on, you know, turning, gluing the 5 tumbling blocks, putting a stick, gluing the 5 tumbling blocks, but in a stick. I spray painted it, shoved a vase in it, and that's gonna be it for this one. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with me today. Favi, thank you for joining me. I hope y'all got some learning and entertainment. Y'all have to let me know in the comments below if you had a favorite today or if you plan on recreating any of these. You know I love talking to you guys. Until next time.